What's up, everybody? Jason here, back again with another episode of Vendors, where we sit down with the wedding industry professionals to ask questions couples like you have about your wedding day plans. Today we're sitting down with Sharokina Pazand, a wedding and event planner here in Chicago, Illinois, who I am absolutely head over heels in love with. Let's get it started. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're sitting down with Sharokina Pazand. Shar, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Hi, Jason. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so pumped.
I'm excited you're here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so Shar with Citygirl Events. I'm a wedding and event planner in Chicago, but I travel, and I think I have the coolest job ever.
So, what do you offer? What does a wedding planner, what does an event planner do?
Wedding planners generally can offer anything. Basically, as far as packages, there is month of coordination where they start 4 to 6 weeks out. There's a partial planning, which you've done some of the work, and then we come in at any point in the process and can help you really coordinate all the details and really do some of the planning with you. And then full service can include just logistics. It can include logistics and design. It really all depends. At Citygirl right now, we only offer partial and full service because we really want to help create that experience from day one for you.
I think something that I always find when I talk to clients is they're a little hesitant to talk to a wedding planner because they think, oh, your job is to be there from the very beginning.
Right.
And couples will say, well, I already have a venue. I'm like, no, there's so much more. So let's say someone were to come to you and say, well, we already have, our photographer, we already have most of our vendors. Yeah. What can you do on top of that?
Yeah, so there's different parts of the planning process that I think people don't realize because they haven't done it before, right? It's like a lot of clients say, we don't know what we don't know, and that's why we're coming to you. And so what I have is like a little chart that I've created that I show my clients. So there's basically, the venue is one big chunk. And then there's vendor procurement, which means like you find the right vendors for you and you create this synergy and this team that's coming together to create this amazing experience for you one day only. Then there's design, which is another big part of it, right? So putting together how things look, how things come together.
So give me some examples of that.
Yeah, so a lot of times, people will say like, I like these flowers, I put them on Pinterest, and this is my wedding design. And then they don't think, well, there's linens, there's napkins, there's stationery, there's linens and rentals and draping and tabletop and furniture. So there's all these different things, lighting, that can come into it that you might think, ooh, this is overwhelming. Flowers I get. But then how do I put everything together and make it work together? Right. So that's something a wedding planner can help you find the right team to put that together. They can help you create a mood board sometimes. Okay. So there's the design part of it, which is completely, in my opinion, separate than just finding the right people. And then there's event management. So it's all the things leading up to logistics. So having it in a timeline. And on top of all of that, throughout the entire time, there's how-to and etiquette. And there's, right? So you're just asking, how do I do this? Do I have to invite my work friends? My mother-in-law is driving me nuts. How do I deal with her? Like all of those things. But those are just some of the big chunks of wedding planning that go together. Mm-hmm. So it's not just, oh, I have my venue and I found some vendors. What else is left to do? Everything. You don't want to be one of those people that doesn't have your mom in any of your photos because your mom is at the venue making sure the florist is setting up and all of these things, right? So I always tell people, pick and choose the projects that you want to either DIY or have a family member help you with, and then realize that they need to at least pass it on to somebody else, like a planner or a trusted friend or somebody that's not the mother of the bride or groom, because they need to be a part of your day. Right? They need to be a guest. They need to be in the moment. They can't be like, oh, did the cake arrive? What?
Right. So how long have you been doing this, and roughly how many weddings have you done?
So it's my year 10, which I'm really excited.
That's awesome. Yeah! That's amazing.
So pumped. And I think over 250 or so, maybe 300, but I don't count. I think it's bad luck, so I don't really know, but it's been a good amount.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you know what you're talking about. This isn't your first rodeo.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Obviously, a lot of couples out there saying we don't need one. Why does a couple need a wedding planner?
A lot of it is you don't know what you don't know, right? So people are professionals at what they do, or they're students, or they're focused on what they do day to day. This is like Alice in Wonderland world. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes like you come in from the outside world, you're like, wait, how much does a napkin cost? What do you mean the catering costs that much? What's included? Like, people have no idea, and then they come in with these budgets. They go online on these wedding websites. They put in, I want to spend $25,000, and they put it in, and it gives them like this pretty percentage. And they go to all the wedding vendors and say, I have $2,000 for this amazing wedding video. And you're like, so we're gonna have to have a conversation, or whatever category, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's sometimes you can, and it's realistic, but a lot of the times it's going with somebody that knows what's realistic, and that can also knows the right questions to ask you, right? So having a wedding planner, you can sit down with me or any other amazing wedding planner and say, hey, what our vision going to be? What is it actually going to cost? And then do you have the people that you can recommend us to? Right. The amazing team that we see on all your Instagram and website and photos. Like, who can you take us to really make our vision happen? Because there are also so many wedding vendors, and not all wedding vendors are created equal, right?
Right.
Sometimes people ask me, will you recommend the same people every weekend? And I say, no, I don't. It's not, I'm the client's advocate. I'm there to really help create their vision. But I also know, okay, Jason's got an amazing personality, so awesome, so fun to work with. I know, well, you're the exception to the rule. Most people want to work with you anyway.
I totally get it.
But people are like, okay, I know somebody, like, I know you guys will be like, it'll be a love connection, right? My job, it's almost like a matchmaker. I'm going to match make you right. It's like, it's got to be a love connection. People want to give their money to vendors that they love working with, they get the vibe. Yes. And also, it's like you, as a wedding industry professional, come into your day-to-day, you're working every weekend. You want to work with clients that you feel like you also vibe with them, so it doesn't feel like work. Yeah,
right. And when you meet with a good client and you work with a good client, it never feels like work. It's like, I get to hang out with these people on the happiest day of their lives and be a part of it.
And they feed you.
And they feed me.
It's so great.
Not a bad deal.
Right.
Never a bad
deal. It's awesome. Yeah, so it's a lot of what you don't know, kind of summarizing the budget, finding the right wedding industry professionals. It's, again, like you see these great things on Pinterest and Instagram. How do you make the pretty, first of all, customized to you so that you're not just pulling the picture and saying, I want this, recreate it. Right. It's bringing you into the day. And then who can actually do that for you? So that's my job, is to help them figure out what's really going to help them with their vision and what's going to fit within, their budget. So for me, it's really being that person that says, I totally get where you're coming from. And I ask questions and I say, I understand what you're trying to do. I said, but from a professional standpoint, as somebody that's done this, can I suggest this? Or maybe there's a different way to look at it. And a lot of the times people are like, oh, I never thought about it that way.
What are some things that couples should know before hiring a wedding planner?
Couple things they should know, what their working style is, like how they like to work with other people. They should know kind of what amount of money that they're working with, and know if they have any range in that. So is there a possibility to go up or not? Understanding their schedules, their working schedules, and are they students? Are they professionals? Like, and then also, how do they make decisions, right? Are they like easy decision makers? Do you want 3 options in each category? Put them in front of me, I'll pick one and done. Or do you want to go to more meetings or need more hand holding? And that's all totally okay. But as a wedding planner, when I get you to come in, those are some of the things I need to know, because it's going to help me first determine if I'm a good fit for you, and also like how quickly they want to get married. Right? So I've got couples that come to me with like 3 months away. I've got couples that come, a year and a half from their wedding. So it helps me get an idea of, if you hire me and I'm contacting venues or vendors, how much, what timeline are we working with? Right. Yeah. So those are, I think, some of the main ones. What is the average cost of a wedding, and what should people really kind of be aware of when they're doing their wedding planning, money-wise? Because, sticker shock is there. It's always gonna be there, no matter if you have $1 million or $5.
What are like the average prices?
statistically speaking, any news article you read right now is saying Chicago's average wedding budget is about $50,000. The clients that I see coming through, it's still a little too low if they're doing a downtown Chicago wedding, but it is possible. It just depends on your guest count. And look, a wedding is possible no matter what. It's just about your expectation. What do you expect? Are you feeding them filet mignon, or are you feeding them, chicken or whatever, light bites? So it's all about expectations. In general, I think what's tough, like we talked about with those statistics online, is the percentages. Again, it's not based on Chicago. And Chicago is just a different, larger market, right? Everything's more expensive. Real estate's more expensive.
Gas is more expensive.
You walk
Lunch
outside your door, everything's more expensive.
Yes.
Cocktails, everything. So food, right? You go out to an average dinner and it's not $25 a person, right? So what we're thinking about when we're talking about budgets, as far as a wedding planner for a month of is going to go anywhere from $2,000 to $3,500. Okay. For a partial, it's going to be usually anywhere from $3,500 to $6,000, $6,000 and up, with a lot of wedding planners with experience being $8,000 or $10,000 starting at and going up. But they're worth their weight in gold because you're going to not stress, and you're going to literally have an advocate and a guide every step of the way. Totally worth it. Most people don't even know sometimes we exist until after, and they're like, I wish I would have known about you. Very true. Right?
Yeah. How early should a couple book with a wedding planner?
Usually engagement season, what we've typically seen in the past is November through March. And so when I get a call from a couple around those months, that's kind of when I'm expecting as a planner to know, okay, that's when I'm going to start doing these consultations, really get to know my clients and fill my calendar so that I know what I'm expecting for that year and also the next year. Really, whenever they call, I've had people call 3 months out, and I can help them, and I love the short-term engagements. I think they're really cool. But usually about 9 months to a year out is preferable for a lot of planners. Usually a year out is really preferable.
What are some of the things that a wedding planner will bring to the process of planning on the wedding day that people never think about?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't know how much communication I have with the wedding industry pros. So like our vendor team, just in between, they think, okay, we just book the vendor, we move on. No, I'm getting those emails from the vendor saying, hey, what time do I show up? Like, what equipment is it dark? Is it bright? So it's a lot of the back end logistics that I don't even tell my clients about because they're hiring me so they don't have to worry about it, right? I always tell people, if you're hiring me as your full service planner, or even sometimes as your partial, send your vendors to me. It's way easier. You can relax. They feel comfortable asking me questions. They don't feel like they're bugging me. Like, they know I'm doing this full time. I'm here. This is what I do all day. So call me, text me, email me, whatever. Even on the day, people ask like, oh, are you gonna contact all my vendors to make sure they show up on time? Are you gonna send them the timeline? Are you gonna send the floor plan? Like all those little things. Like I do a final walkthrough before the wedding. So we finalize the floor plan. We make sure everything is taken care of. I'll hand out gratuities on behalf of the client. I have my emergency kit. I call it the Citygirl Survival Kit. So I bring my little suitcase, and it's got like Tide to Go stick. It's got a sewing kit. Clever. So yeah, so anybody that has any of those issues, they can come to me, and it's like, okay, let's figure it out. Whatever it is, So we're there to really almost do anything or everything. It's not my job today. It's figure out how you get it done and worry about how stressful it was later. I'm thinking about it from a psychological perspective too. When I put together the timeline, I don't just go, okay, this is when we need to be here or whatever. I'm thinking about what kind of experience is it going to be on the day? Like what is going to make it so magical and touch all of the senses so that they can really feel like, whoa, we had this experience.
Part of our job is to fix the fuck up.
Yes.
For those of you who are planning your wedding right now, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. Something is going to go wrong on your wedding day. And it's okay. It's so okay. I have never, ever once seen a wedding go exactly on time or exactly as it. And it's the couple's just ability to have fun and enjoy their wedding day that makes it all the difference. But it's also our job to fix that problem. And how well we fix it to make sure that the day can be perfect.
Exactly.
So what are some examples of fixing the fuck up?
One time it was a wedding. We were actually it was a destination wedding and it was raining and the bride had dreamed about the ceremony outside. just dreamed about it. So we ended up shifting the time of the ceremony, which I think was so unique that was able to happen. So we had cocktail hour first, wow. And then switched it over and had the ceremony after the sun came out. And then it was literally, but it was quick thinking, right? Because we're thinking, okay, we've got to bring everybody in from the outside because it's raining. We said, let's give them booze. Yeah. Have your drink, enjoy. And they were like, wait, we can do that? I'm like, yeah, because I worked it out on the back end, right, to have that done. We figured out how to clean everything up, and we ended up having the ceremony outside. We wiped off all the chairs, got it all ready. Wow. Sun came out, we're like, all right, ceremony time. So we did everything as planned after that. And then they went right from there to like another mini cocktail hour, and then like for a few minutes, and then went to reception, and it worked out really well. And sometimes you just don't get to it. Right? When you're a couple and you're like, okay, we have all this time, you have a year and a half to plan, you're like, it's gonna be easy, we have plenty of time. And then you get down to the night before, you're like, if I didn't do it, it's not gonna happen. Right?
That's true. It's super true. So we're often told that wedding vendors are expensive. For wedding planners, you charge a certain price, and we don't need to know the exact number, but where do those percentages go?
A lot of it is research. So like my time is really my product. It's my service, right? So it's me researching whether it's like new vendors or just contacting vendor or wedding professionals that I feel would be a good fit for my client, making sure they're available. The back and forth with those professionals, that takes time. Meeting with wedding professionals or going somewhere on behalf of my client, that takes time. Communicating with my client and their families, that takes time. All the preset meetings and phone calls, that takes time. Design, conceptualization, if that's offered, which we do in our package, design takes time. Design's not easy. No, I can't be like, and I'm setting an hour for time and design. I'm gonna design it and I'm inspired and it's done. Design's a feeling, it takes some time. So that takes time, which time it then translates to an hourly rate. It's my team on the day that I pay, right? I have to also pay their parking. So those kinds of things. And even it's things like the time that I took to go to networking events and industry events and knowledge that I've acquired over how many years. That's gonna save you time and money, right? Taking you to the right professionals that fit within your budget and your style, that's gonna save you money right there. Reading your contract, non-legal contract review, takes time, going back and forth.
Yeah. And on top of that, you have to pay taxes as well.
Oh, that whole thing. Taxes, paying for my license, like insurance. I mean, everything you can think of. Overhead, I have a space. Yep. And so for me, it's a place where I can meet my clients. We're not meeting at a Starbucks, which there's nothing wrong with. But when we're talking about sensitive, I love Starbucks, but I'm talking about money all the time with my clients. And people are afraid to talk about money in public. They're like, it's a really sensitive thing.
It's a very taboo subject. And that's one of the big reasons I wanted to do this whole video series is because once you understand where that money goes, it really kind of calms people down.
Totally makes sense.
If someone was to be looking for a wedding planner, but they couldn't afford a certain level, how can they save money?
Talk to us.
Okay.
Because we can either customize something for you. Like a lot of the times I've done like even a la carte items for a couple. So I had a couple come in, they're like, well, we don't know if we can afford. And I said, well, our budget, they can hire me for a budget consult. It was $250. And I said a couple things. If you want to apply that to a package later, you can. And if you don't, at least you spent $250. I've sat with you for probably 2 to 3 hours. But now this is my blueprint. I can go out and I know exactly what I'm getting. And they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's like kind of like you're saving thousands of dollars just by sitting with a planner one time. Well, you can customize. That's what's great about a partial package for a lot of people. Partial packages for planners are all different. Okay. And we all do it differently. And I think that's what I've learned over 10 years. It's like, wait, you can't, my partial package is different from, the next person's. But customizing something I think makes sense because everyone's needs are so different, and sometimes what I'll say is like, I'll switch out this service for that service. Like some people don't have a rehearsal. So I might offer extra time on the wedding day, or like I'll throw something in, or I could say like, okay, we're looking at this price. Let me put together in my mind what I think it'll take time-wise, and I'll see if I can get to that number for you. And then if I can't, I know so many other wedding planners that do such an amazing job that can totally help them out. So I always recommend out.
Yeah. If someone were so inclined to reach out to you, to talk to you, to work with you, or just ask you questions, what is the best way they can reach you?
Yeah, they can just check out citygirlevents.com and they can send out a little inquiry, or, we've got our phone number on there. Call us. I like to talk on the phone. Or check out our handle on Instagram, Citygirl Events. Send us a DM, give me a phone call, whatever it is. I'd love to chat with you.
Perfect. Shar, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Jason. You were awesome.
This was amazing. Thank you.
You were great.
We hope this episode of Vendors helps you on your wedding planning. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and to share to make sure you and your fellow planning couples don't miss a single episode. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out our entire conversation in the podcast. Be sure to check out all of our episodes about these amazing wedding industry professionals. We'll see you next time on Vendors. Vendors is produced and edited by Night Owls Media. More information can be found at nightowlsmedia.com.